The Jeffersons is an American sitcom television series that was broadcast on CBS from January 18, 1975, to July 2, 1985, lasting 11 seasons and a total of 253 episodes. The Jeffersons is one of the longest-running sitcoms in history, the second longest-running series with a primarily African-American cast by episode count behind Tyler Perry's House of Pain and the first to prominently feature a married interracial couple. The show focuses on George and Louise Jefferson, a prosperous black couple who have been able to move from Queens to Manhattan owing to the success of George's dry-cleaning chain, Jefferson Cleaners. The show was launched as the second, and longest-running, spin-off of All in the Family, after Maude, on which the Jeffersons had been the neighbors of Archie and Edith Bunker. The show was the creation of Norman Lear. The Jeffersons eventually evolved into more of a traditional sitcom, but episodes occasionally focused on serious issues such as alcoholism, racism, suicide, gun control, being transgender, the KKK, and adult illiteracy. The epithets nigger and honky were used occasionally, especially during the earlier seasons. The Jeffersons had one spin-off, titled Checking In. The series was centered on the Jeffersons' housekeeper, Florence, who takes a job as cleaning management at a hotel. Checking In lasted only 4 episodes, after which Florence returned to the Jeffersons with the story that the hotel had burned down in a fire. The Jeffersons also shared continuity with the sitcom E/R, which featured Lynn Moody, who made a guest appearance in one episode of The Jeffersons. Sherman Hemsley guest-starred as George in 2 episodes of the series, which lasted for 1 season. The cancellation of The Jeffersons cleared the way for Marla Gibbs, who played Florence Johnston on the series, to move on to the NBC sitcom 227 in the fall of 1985, a year earlier than scheduled. The Jeffersons ended in controversy after CBS abruptly canceled the series without allowing for a proper series finale. The cast was not informed until after the July 2, 1985, episode, Red Robins. Actor Sherman Hemsley, who portrayed George Jefferson, said he learned that the show was canceled by reading it in the newspaper. Isabel Sanford, Louise Jefferson, who heard about the cancellation through her cousin who read it in the tabloids, publicly stated that she found the cancellation with no proper finale to be disrespectful on the network's part. Per an article in the May 8, 1985, Los Angeles Times, the series was canceled by announcement at the CBS network upfront presentation the day before, nearly 2 months before the airing of the final episode. Actor Franklin Cover, who played Tom Willis, also heard about the cancellation while watching Entertainment Tonight. The cast reunited in a stage play based on the sitcom. In Season 5 Episode 17 of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, titled Willis from Mars, 1995, the Jeffersons made a guest appearance as a couple in therapy class. In the 1996 series finale of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the Jeffersons made a guest appearance as the buyers of the Banks family house. In an episode of Tyler Perry's House of Pain in 2011, Sherman Hemsley and Marla Gibbs reprised their roles of George Jefferson and Florence Johnston. In 1985, Hemsley and Sanford made a special joint guest appearance in the Canale 5 comedy show Grand Hotel, starring the Italian actors Paolo Villaggio, the comic duo Franco and Ciccio, and Carmen Russo. They were guests in the fictional hotel and their voices were dubbed by Italian actors Enzo Guarini, George, and Isa Di Marzio, Louise, who also dubbed their characters for the full series. As of 2023, the members still alive from the main cast include Marla Gibbs, Berlinda Tolbert, and Damon Evans. Louise Jefferson, played by Isabel Sanford, first appeared in the All in the Family episode Lionel Moves into the Neighborhood, which was broadcast on March 2, 1971. The episode, the 8th of the series, centers on Louise, her son Lionel, and her husband George moving next door to Archie and Edith Bunker in the working-class section of Queens. Lionel, played by Mike Evans, first appeared in Meet the Bunkers, the premiere episode of All in the Family. Norman Lear created the character of George Jefferson specifically for Hemsley. Lear originally intended for George to appear in the first season of the series, but Hemsley was starring in the Broadway musical Purlie at the time, and Lear decided to postpone introduction of the character until Hemsley was available. Lear created the character of Henry Jefferson, George's younger brother, who was portrayed by Mel Stewart, which replaced George with Henry in the series' scripts until Pearlie finished its run. Henry played as George when Louise felt embarrassed that George did not want to be in Archie Bunker's house, due to prejudice. George was introduced in the episode Henry's Farewell, and Hemsley and Stewart share their only scene together in its final minutes. The episode marked the final appearance of Henry throughout the series. The idea of the Jeffersons moving on up came after 3 members of the Black Panthers who were fans of Lear's productions visited Lear's CBS office, raising issues with the creator over the portrayal of black people on television, including his mod spin-off series Good Times. Every time you see a black man on the tube, he is dirt poor, wears shit clothes, can't afford nothing, Lear recalled in his autobiography. Lear consulted with his associate Al Burton on the concept. George, Louise, and Lionel continued to appear on All in the Family until 1975, when the spin-off The Jeffersons, also created by Lear, premiered. The characters of Lionel's multiracial fiancée, Jenny, and her family, all of whom first appeared in the 1974 All in the Family episode Lionel's Engagement, were also written into the new series. However, the roles were all recast, with Berlinda Tolbert taking over the role of Jenny, veteran actor Franklin Cover playing her father, Tom Willis, whose first name was changed from Lewis, as it was in their first All in the Family appearance, and Roxy Roker as her mother, Helen. Roker was asked during a casting interview if she would be comfortable with her character having a white husband. In response, she showed a picture of her husband, Cy Kravitz, who was white. During the January 11, 1975 episode of All in the Family, titled The Jeffersons Move Up, Edith Bunker gave a tearful goodbye to her neighbor Louise Jefferson as her husband George, their son Lionel, and she moved from a working-class section of Queens, New York, into the luxurious Colby East, a fictitious high-rise apartment complex on East 63rd Street in the Upper East Side neighborhood of Manhattan. The Jeffersons premiered the following week, on January 18, 1975. George's career as a dry cleaner began in the first season of All in the Family in the 3rd episode Oh, My Aching Back, though the character himself did not appear on camera. After his car was rear-ended by a bus, he filed a civil action and won $5,000, enough to open his first store in Queens. At the beginning of The Jeffersons, he was operating 5 stores throughout New York City, with another 2 opening during the following seasons. Louise made friends with Tom and Helen Willis, an interracial couple with 2 adult children of their own, whom George derided as Zebra's son Allan, played by Andrew Rubin in the first season finale, and by Jay Hammer throughout season 5, a white passing college dropout, and daughter Jenny, an aspiring fashion designer. Jenny and Lionel became a couple, married on December 24, 1976, and later became the parents of a daughter, Jessica, played by Ebony Smith. Lionel and Jenny experienced marital issues as evidenced in a 2-part season 8 episode The Separation, and divorced in the final.